First question, what is your winning aspiration? The second question is, where do you play? Third question you have to answer is, how do you win? If you can answer those three questions and then consider what are your core competencies and what management systems you need to put in place, you are now beginning to develop a meaningful strategy. Hi, welcome to Agile Growth with Shri, a place where CEOs and business owners find answers to their most pressing challenges when it comes to building an enduring business. I am Shri Seshadri. I'm the founder of Agile Growth Partners. I'm a CEO coach and growth advisor to mid-market companies. In my work with CEOs as well as senior leadership teams, I use my framework called 5 drivers of Agile Growth. And those 5 drivers are strategy, execution, talent, culture, and cash flow. I developed this framework to have a holistic model that addresses all the things that a CEO has to get right in order to build a successful and enduring business. This video series will focus on strategy, something that is very important for a company to be successful on a long-term basis. It also happens to be a topic that I'm very passionate about and spend a lot of time thinking about. This video is the first of a 6-part series on the 5 biggest mistakes that CEOs and entrepreneurs and business owners make when it comes to strategy. In this video, I'll do 3 things. I'll highlight the price that you pay for not having developed an effective strategy. I'll give you a simple yet very valuable definition of strategy. And then I will finally share the 5 most common mistakes that CEOs and business owners make when it comes to strategy. Each of the following videos will do a deep dive into one of those mistakes and talk about what actions you can take to fix that. So let's begin by talking about what's at stake for you and your company if you don't have a good strategy. So what's the impact of not having a good strategy? Why do we care? So the first thing is the company will lack direction and instead will be pulled in a lot of different avenues, in a lot of different directions, which kind of saps the energy. Companies find that they're unable to sustainably grow revenues and profit margins. CEOs find that they cannot scale the business and instead they either stagnate or in the worst case scenario, they fail. The company lacks pricing power and is not able to gain market share. And finally, the company lacks differentiation and instead becomes highly commoditized in the space that they play in. And as you can see, not having an effective strategy comes at a very high cost to you as well as to your organization. Before we talk about the 5 big mistakes when it comes to strategy, let's just talk a little bit about what is strategy. The interesting thing about strategy is it's one of those words which is not very well defined for most people. It's kind of like leadership. If you were to Google either strategy or leadership, you would get a ton of hits. If you go on Amazon and just do a search on these topics, you'll see a lot of books on it, and it can be overwhelming. I would like to share a definition of strategy that is offered by Michael Porter. Michael Porter is a very famous professor from Harvard Business School and has written some of the best books on strategy and is considered one of the leading thinkers in the space. Over 25 years ago in 1996, Michael Porter wrote an article in the Harvard Business Review and it was called "What is Strategy?" I would definitely recommend that you check out that article. I'll put a link in the show notes. In that article, he provides a very simple yet very valuable definition for strategy. He says, strategy is a creation of a unique and valuable position involving a different set of activities. What he means by that is, strategy is not just about being better, strategy at its core is about being different. To expand upon that definition of strategy, I want to offer a few key questions that your strategy has to answer. The first question, what is your winning aspiration? Why do we talk about this? Strategy is for you to win in the game that you're playing. And the aspiration is for you to define what is the big goal that you're working towards and why is it important to you. So the first question is, what is your winning aspiration? The second question is, where do you play? That question is designed to answer what is the playing field you're choosing to play in. And after you've defined what is your winning aspiration, where do you play, the third question you have to answer is, how do you win? If you can answer those 3 questions and then consider what capabilities and management system you need in place, you are now beginning to develop a cohesive and effective strategy. Now let's get to the core of what this video is about, which is the 5 most common mistakes that I see CEOs, entrepreneurs, and business owners make when it comes to strategy. The first mistake is not having a strategy. You might say, Shri, what do you mean? How can somebody have a business and not have a strategy? And you will be surprised by how often this happens. In my next video, I'm going to do a deep dive of exactly how that manifests itself and what might be some root causes underneath that. The first mistake is a company operating without having a strategy. The second mistake is thinking that operational efficiency is the same as your strategy. Operational efficiency and strategy are very different. You absolutely need to have operational efficiency, but you cannot confuse that to be as your strategy. Third mistake is the strategy is a secret. What do I mean by that? The strategy might be in the CEO's head, or they might have shared it with a couple of people in the senior leadership team, but that's about it. The rest of the organization is not fully aware of what the company strategy is. Mistake number 4, the strategy does not translate into sustained and disciplined action. What do I mean by that? You might have gone to great lengths to create a very effective strategy, but as it happens, when it comes to the day-to-day execution, you're not necessarily leveraging your strategy effectively and they seem to be disconnected. The fifth mistake is you might have developed a very good strategy, but then you lack strategic agility. And what do I mean by that? You might have developed a strategy based on a certain set of constraints, making some assumptions in the environment, and then something very rapidly changes. You're not able to adapt to it. You're not able to be flexible and nimble and respond to it effectively. So those are the top 5 mistakes that I see CEOs and entrepreneurs make when it comes to strategy. So please check out the next 5 videos in this series where I'll do a deep dive into each of these mistakes and also provide you some very actionable ideas on how to overcome them. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out my next video.